So I have this picture, this photo of a baby elephant, and I'm going to try out the object selection tool on this one because I feel like it's a pretty well-defined object, if you will. So I'm going to just get it to fit here. And what I'm going to do with this tool is drag a selection around it. And then Photoshop is going to try to determine where the object is. And it did a pretty good job, but it's not perfect, which is okay. Because along with our selection tools, Photoshop gives us this tool at the bottom of the toolbar called Quick Mask Mode. And if I click on it, it turns everything outside of the selection red. Okay, and then when I turn it off, I just simply see the selection, the marching ants. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in a little bit on this because I'm going to refine this selection using Quick Mask Mode and the brush tool. So if I brush with black as my foreground color, and I'm going to put the hardness up at 100, and I'm going to go ahead and increase the brush size too. Notice that I am brushing red, okay? And that is simply taking away from the selection. And you can always change your brush color to white and then add to your selection as well. And it's probably best to especially when you are close to the object, to take short brush strokes. That way you can control it a little bit better. And then I'm simply going to work my way around, and I'm going to do all of the red first, fill in the red as best as possible. There's a little shadow down here that it got. And also there is a keyboard shortcut for increasing and decreasing the size of your brush. And that is the bracket keys, the left and right bracket keys next to the P key. And so you can do the left bracket key to make your brush size smaller and the right bracket key to make your brush size larger. It's pretty handy. And I'm going to make it bigger again because I got a pretty big area right here. And decrease it as I have to get into small places. Now I'm not ignoring these places. I'm just going to get all of the red or what I need to subtract from the selection first, and then I'll go back and add to the selection where I need to. Okay? And I think I did a pretty good job there. So now I'm going to flip these two colors. Notice I can hit this arrow to flip them back and forth. We want white in the front now so that I can add to my selection. Whoops. And a little bit down here. And the tail back here, and I need to decrease the size of it because it's a small, thin area. And periodically, it's a good idea to get out of Quick Mask Mode so that you can actually see your selection. Like right here, it was hard for me to see that this little piece is part of his trunk. But I see that it is. I can go back into Quick Mask Mode and I can edit it there. However, I don't have to use the object selection tool to add to the selection. So I'm going to go to the polygonal lasso tool and I'm going to add to. And the polygonal lasso tool, if I start and click inside the selection, and then basically I click my mouse every time there is a curve, and I go back in and finish where I started, and now I have added to my selection with a different tool. And oh, I've got a little bit right here, a little bit of bend in his knee that I didn't notice. Okay, and oop, there's a little piece right there. This one I'm going to get with just the lasso tool. The lasso tool just lets, oops, I need to Control Z to undo. I forgot to change it to add to selection. I'm going to draw, and this just, no, not add to, subtract from, sorry. It's going to allow me to just draw a little circle around it. And the rest of it all looks pretty good, close enough. So I'm going to Control C, and I'm going to go over here and Control V. Now you notice some kind of rough edges, and I'm going to show you how we can fix that. I shouldn't say fix it, but how to help work with that on the next one. But I also want you to notice that each of these photos we've brought in goes on its own layer. And sometimes when you wind up making a collage or something that has multiple layers, you are going to have a hard time remembering what's what. So you want to name them. Okay, so I can name my layers. So then I can go back to the elephant and get my move tool, and I can resize him a little bit. And I can go find another one. Okay, and this particular one, I can try the quick selection tool on this and see how it works. So this is going to be a new selection here, and I'm going to increase the size of it, and I'm just going to brush kind of over this tree trunk. And it's trying to determine, based on the color of the pixels, what I'm trying to select. So you notice at the moment there's enough contrast to where it's not selecting the wall, and as long as I keep brushing over, it is selecting all of this tree trunk. So I'm going to go ahead and, whoops, I lost where I am. There we go. Copy. And I'm going to go over here and I'm going to hit paste. And notice it comes in with those handles already. So I'm going to go ahead and move it over to the side and put them right there. And then I can move my other objects out of the way. So I'm going to go to this sleeping seal one, and I'm going to go back to the magnetic lasso tool. And if you look up in these options, I want you to notice that there is one here called feather. Now, sometimes when we make selections, like especially with this elephant, it maybe would have been a good idea to set the feather. And what it does is it softens the edges so that when you have mistakes, it is more forgiving. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and set this at 7, only because I want to make sure that you actually can see the effect. So I'm going to use this magnetic, and I'm going to let it go around this seal, and you notice that it got some of that shadow there, so I'm going to have to go and fix it. Okay, and let me go to quick mask, and I need to zoom in a little bit. Okay, so, oh, I'm actually not going to go to quick mask. Notice that when I go to quick mask, see how it's right up along the edges? how it gets lighter, that's the feather. So I'm going to go ahead and copy it with the shadow. And when I put it here, oh, that's the tiniest. I knew that photo was was tiny, as opposed to the others. I didn't realize it was that tiny, so maybe I won't use that one. Let me get a different one. Okay, I'll use this mirror with the bus in there, but I'll use the same method. Okay, so we have it at 7 pixels, and I am using the magnetic lasso tool to go around. And again, it is not making it perfect at the moment, which I wish it would, but it's not. I could, I guess, if I went and did the, I'm not sure, magnetic lasso, or sorry, polygonal lasso, and added to it. I'm adding to the selection. So if I start inside, I can come out here, and I made sure that my feather was the same. Okay, so I got that, and I'm going to come out here and same thing. Okay, and a little piece of it here, and then I think we should be good. Okay, now I'm going to copy, and I'm going to come over here and paste. And now you can see the feathered edges a little bit better. Now, something I want to point out, notice how this is showing up behind the elephant. Well, look where it is on the layer. Because I had moved some previous stuff, I had different layers selected, and whenever you put in a new layer, it simply puts it on top of what you previously worked on. So the winged statue was the last one that I did, so this mirror went on top of it. Now, in order to get that mirror up in front, I just have to rearrange my layers, and there it is. Okay, and commit it, and then I can move things around as I want. Now, sometimes you have a photo where you don't want to select any one piece, but maybe you want an area. So obviously I showed you the marquee tool with this one, but we could use the crop tool. Okay, and I want you to see that there are other things that are selected with it, which we're not going to work on right now. We are simply doing the crop tool. And the crop tool, we can move this area, and we are basically making this image a different size so that it's only this flower rather than the whole bunch of flowers. So I could then simply click on this layer that I'll need to unlock, and then drag this over, and then there is that flower.